Who got their Indiana Jones inside my Dracula? Hey guys, just me tonight. I don't know what it is right now. I think it's just everyone's life's kind of chaotic at the moment, so it's like, this isn't that big of a week for movies, so I figured I'll just go see this one by myself. So this is The Nun, which is the newest entry in the Conjuring expanded universe, because that's a thing now. I think I should just briefly go over my history with the series. I'm not like a huge fan by any chance by any means. I never saw the first one. I heard that was good, and I know a lot of people liked it. I saw the second one. I thought the second one was decent. I thought that was good in its own way. Not great, but it was good. I saw Annabelle. I barely fucking remember that movie. I remember it had like one good scare, and then that was it. Annabelle sucked. And then Annabelle Origins wasn't bad. Wasn't great. It was kind of in between. Now we have The Nun, which is the newest, which is like based on the ghost from the second one, which is like the big evil demon. I guess they're setting this up to be like the big bad of the series. I guess this series needs a big bad for whatever reason. But anyway, so like I didn't hate it, didn't really like it. It just kind of There's some cool stuff about it. There's some mostly in the visuals. There are some interesting visual elements in the film that I'll discuss in a bit. But more often than not, it's just this. This is a process I'm gonna forget about in a few weeks when more interesting movies come out. This is kind of a weird dry period we're in right now. We're just like not a whole lot good is coming out. I don't know, maybe it's because it's September or what, or maybe it's because we're getting close to Halloween, so a lot of the horror movies are coming out. Even then, I think it's the first horror movie I've seen in a couple weeks, so I don't know, maybe September is just a slow time. But either way, this just, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like much to really talk about, and like it's not even really that popular, or at least not with this theater over here. I saw it in IMAX, there was only like 5 other people there. But yeah, just to briefly go over the story, if you don't already know, this movie takes place, this is a prequel to the other Conjuring movies, or at least all of them except Annabelle Origins. I don't know if that one came before or after. This is the first spin-off I've seen from the Conjuring movies that actually has something that's directly connected to Conjuring 1 and 2, rather than the Annabelle movies, which is like, oh, here's the backstory of that one thing that was in that movie, like, in their trophy case for a little while. But this one does like actually have a fairly direct connection to the first and second movie. Not that you really need to watch this to understand the context of the other two movies, because honestly, this movie doesn't really tell you much else that you really need to know about the nun or the character, the demon that's supposed to represent. Most of that's already covered in the second movie, so this is more of a, if you really want to know why it's a nun, and even then it's only kind of loosely described why. I don't know, when you really break it down corporately, it's just a cynical cash grab that doesn't really need to exist, doesn't really add a whole lot to the Conjuring universe, but it exists, so here we are. I apologize if I'm kind of rambling, I'm a little tired. I haven't gotten to sleep the past couple days, but so if I seem a little loopy, that's why. And horror movies are just so fucking hard to talk about, especially when they're not scary, and that's really what the big issue this movie has, is it's really not that scary. There are a couple of ones that are kind of creepy, and a lot of that comes down to kind of what helps this movie stand out from other cut-and-paste horror movies I've seen like this, which would be the visual elements, and there are some good and creative visual elements in the film. Some of the shots are really cool to look at. Some of the ways the nun interacts with the environment, that stuff was kind of cool to see. Everything else is just very predictable jump scares, and that's not new for the Conjuring series. Conjuring series has been doing that for pretty much just the first one, but again, kind of like this one, there's always been at least some creativity in its visuals, to my knowledge. Again, I didn't see the first one, so and some of that does carry over here, but a lot of it's kind of predictable. It's like, oh, okay, they're doing that slow thing where there's no music and the sun's gonna jump out, and like you can do a countdown from when the jump scare happens. You'll get it right like 8 times out of 10. That being said, one thing I did appreciate about this movie, and it's something I did like about it, is I've heard a lot of other critics I respect kind of compare this to Brendan Fraser's The Mummy, and I definitely see it, because it this movie has 3 main characters, and this, by the way, as I mentioned before, this movie takes place in 1952, where there's this big Dracula-esque castle in Romania, and where the demon that the nun is supposed to be resides, and the nuns are there to like try to keep it at bay. But one by one, spoiler, the demon has successfully basically killed off all the nuns, or at least convinced them to kill themselves, so that way they can't become hosts to the demon. And 3 people are sent to go search for, well, 2 people are sent to go search out for it. There is, like, Father something, I'm just gonna call him Father, who is set up to be, like, this, like, Catholic supernatural investigator, who I guess has seen this kind of shit before. Who's fucking useless in this movie. He honestly doesn't do a whole lot, except he just be a reckless idiot and just fall for whatever obvious trap the demon lays out for him. He doesn't honestly contribute much to the whole overall movie. They set him up to be like a badass. He's so pathetic majority of the film. But his purpose is to bring on his sidekick, who really is the star of the show, who is a nun in training who is also a psychic, which I would kind of scoff at, but at the same time, this movie established from the first Conjuring that psychics exist in this universe, so it's kind of like, all right, whatever. And they go off together to go to this cloister to figure out what's going on. In the meantime, they meet with a guy named Frenchie, who is our Brendan Fraser for the movie. Even fucking dresses like him for the Mummy. Like, the outfit's like almost verbatim the same. Pardon me. And they bring him along because he's the one that knows the way to the cloister, and he's also the one that discovered the nun's body, the last nun that killed herself. So he gets kind of dragged into this, and he's the only one that actually has, like, logic and weapons to be used in this movie, which is good, because this is, like, the most Conjuring movie with zombies in it. There's a shocking amount of zombies in this movie. But anyway, back to one thing I said I did like about this movie. I did like that there's almost kind of an old-school style and atmosphere to it. Like I said, it is very Dracula. It is very The Mummy. It does kind of have those visual aesthetics. And especially, like, some of the jump scares do have, like, there's a lot of, like, hands that pop out of things and do, like, like it's in The Mummy and stuff like that. So there's kind of an old school element that's kind of like, okay, that's kind of cool to see. Does it redeem the movie? No. Like, honestly, I kind of almost fell asleep through a good chunk of this film. Me being tired notwithstanding. But, like, stuff like that, I was like, okay, I can kind of respect it for the visual elements of it. And like I said, when the nun shows up, there's some clever and cool little visual tricks that they do. I thought was kind of cool to look at. So yeah, while they're at this cloister, the nun just starts fucking with them until they kind of figure out what's going on, and then a massive info dump provided by one of the other nuns, who is really a ghost. But anyway, she says, like, oh, well, and the plot of this movie's fucking ridiculous. It's fucking stupid. When you really, like, the way they go into it's not even, like, presented organically so much. It's like, oh, this, like, what's the history of this place? This castle used to be owned by a wizard who studied all kinds of satanic, like, wizardry, and he tried to open a portal to hell to summon a demon, but the Crusaders stopped him, and they sealed the portal to hell using the blood of Christ. It is a D&D campaign. The background for this fucking castle is a D&D campaign, minus the morons who fuck it up. No! Oh, no, I'm wrong. The fucking father is the D&D character that sets himself up to be a badass, but he keeps rolling fucking ones. That's how the character is. Perfect example. I go to the door, go to the door, it says delivery, so I can get out of this creepy-ass room. You hear a bell on the ground. Should I go? I do a perception check. Roll a 1. There's nothing wrong with the bell. It could lead to treasure. You should follow it. Okay, I follow the bell. A zombie pops out of the ice. Oh, no! My perception roll failed miserably. Fucking idiot. He deserves whatever he fucking gets in this movie. He gets a fair amount of abuse, but he fucking deserves it. He's so stupid. Frenchie's the only one with, like, half a brain in this movie. Although the way they actually do beat the nun in the end is both, like, ridiculous and kind of amazing at the same time. I'll get to that. But anyway, so yeah, and like I said, they're kind of slowly introducing the psychic sister to the nun, because I guess the nun wants to possess her. And the way they do that is kind of interesting. Like, I think when the nun first shows up first in the movie, like it's kind of cool. Like they have the nun like come towards the last nun before she jumps off the ledge, but you don't see her step. She's just floating. As she's floating, like the candles on both sides kind of go out. Is it original? No, we've seen that kind of stuff before, but it's still a cool visual element. The one I think I liked the most was when the psychic sister goes into the church in the middle of the night, and you just see this like shadow go from like the Jesus cross and like slowly go its way to a mirror, and that's when you can actually see the nun. The nun pops out of the mirror. It's like, okay, it's a jump scare you can see coming a mile away, but it's a cool visual effect. There are a few interesting aerial camera shots, or I mean not aerial, I don't know what you call them. Like over the there are some cool camera shots. Like there's a part where all the nuns have to keep praying to try to keep evil at bay, and psychic sisters in the middle of them. So like all the ones in black robes follow a circle, and the one that hasn't taken her vow, like psychic sister, is one in white. It's like kind of a cool visual element that way. A lot of the shots they use of the nun when you can't see her full face are kind of creepy, mostly because the eyes do a lot of the work, and when they focus on the eyes, it does work to a certain extent. When they show the rest of the face, not so much. There is a fairly good sequence when the psychic sister is like staying the night inside the cloister itself, and the nun fucks with her mind and her perception of what's up and down and stuff like that. That kind of stuff was that kind of stuff was visually interesting. And the characters were likable, well, except for the father Ergen, who's a fucking moron. But Frenchie was a likable character. I liked him. The psychic sister did fairly well overall. But yeah, other than that, it just takes a lot of weird turns. Like, this movie goes from like a horror movie to like National Treasures or like Indiana Jones 3, when they like everyone has to stop everything they're doing to go on a treasure hunt to go find the blood of Christ. And I kept wanting to like if I didn't see this alone, I would have leaned over to something like Jehovah starts with an I, you know, that kind of thing. It's definitely feels like very much The Last Crusades, except it's a horror movie. Except there's no jump scares at any point during the sequence, so it shifts. There's a dramatic shift from a horror movie to this weird ass National Treasures bullshit. And it's kind of jarring. It's kind of weird, and then it jumps back into a horror movie. So yeah, this is a weird mixed bag of a film, and it's not awful. I mean, I've seen worse horror movies just in the last 2 months. Nothing's gonna top Slenderman as far as like worst horror movie this year, or at least if it did, I'd be shocked. Where was I going with this? But like it is what it is. Like, I wasn't really scared by it. There are a couple parts like, okay, that's kind of creepy, but there are few and far between. Other than that, it's really just kind of boring, and I just don't really find it very engaging. There's stuff I appreciate about it, but not enough to go pay full price for this. I mean, I'd use A-list as goddamn bright light. The nun found me shit. Yeah, I mean, I use A-list to get this, so it's not like I paid for my ticket, but just, yeah, I can't, when this is on Netflix, maybe, sure, watch it, but I can't really recommend it beyond that. Oh, I did forget to talk about the ridiculous ending. So, the MacGuffin device in this movie, as I mentioned before, is the blood of Christ, which apparently has the power to, like, repel all demons and seal the doorway to hell, which is apparently cracked open again because of World War II, I'm guessing. And, apparently the gateway is hidden under this gigantic, like little... Basically, there's, like, a pool of water, like, and the gateway to hell is underneath all this. So the climax ends with like the nun is attacking the psychic sister, and she's trying to kill him, but she still has the sister still has like the blood of Christ in her hand, and the nun's like, I win, and she like grabs the necklace full of Jesus blood, and she's like, oh no, the Jesus blood is gone, whatever will I do? And like, where did it go? And then the sister just opens her eyes and goes, like, just spits literally spits the blood of Christ on the nun, and that's what defeats her. It's kind of like, man, if and when you die, God's gonna have some questions of like, of all the things you could have done, why was that plan A? Like, and how did she do it? Like, they never make clear how the blood comes out of the little vial. Did she just like put it to her mouth underwater and just suck it up and hope for the best? I don't know. But I was kind of like, oh my god, this is really silly. Which again isn't necessarily a bad thing, because there's always been kind of an inherent silliness with the Conjuring movies. But I feel like at least the second one's a bit more aware of it. I don't know. Actually, I would make the argument this one's kind of aware of it too, to be fair. But not enough to be, like, funny about it. Just more like, okay, that's pretty silly. So, yeah, this is gonna be a short video. I don't really have a whole lot to say on this. It is what it is. It's unremarkable, is what I would say it is. Alright, let me go on to trailers really fast, so that way I can go home. First trailer was kind of fucking bizarre trailer for Assassination Nation, which is like one that's like trying to be The Purge, but not, because this one kind of reveals more of the plot, and it just turns out the whole catalyst for what I guess is like a gigantic murder spree in the neighborhood, pardon me, is because someone like lets out all the texts and emails everyone's ever sent to everyone in town, and that just causes everyone to lose their goddamn minds. Which seems to be a bit of no, actually, not even to lose the goddamn minds. Like, it seemed to target just these women for some reason, and then the women decide they're gonna fight back, but everyone's wearing purge masks and shit, and I was kind of like, alright, whatever. And then the fucking name of the movie goes by so goddamn fast, I don't know how the fuck you're supposed to read it, so like, so you just tell me a weird-ass fucking trailer for a movie, I can't even, if I haven't seen a trailer for this before, I wouldn't know what the hell it is. So there's that. And then there was Hellfest, which I talked about before. Venom, I've gone at lengths about it before. If you really want to know what the thoughts about what Venom's going to be, watch that video. That one's well brought down. Then I got an extended look at Overlord, which is basically just showed like the opening airplane crash sequence, which I guess is supposed to be really intense, but also the way it's animated makes it like really cartoony, so I don't know. Then I got The Predator, which I guess I'll see next week, I suppose. I don't know, I keep seeing reviews for that popping up, so I'm guessing that's, if it's not out now, it's out soon. Then I got Godzilla King of the Monsters. I am so fucking excited for this movie. As everyone knows who watches my channel religiously, I am a huge Godzilla fan. I like the last one, even though I know it has flaws, and I get why a lot of people don't like it. That being said, I liked it, and this one definitely looks like it's doubling down on everything that made the first one good, and it looks amazing. The visuals alone are just... And hopefully it fixed the problems of the last one, which is uninteresting, uncharismatic lead actor, because it looks like what's his name, Aaron Johnson? Either way, the guy from the first movie, he's gone, and it looks like you're replacing him with some pretty reliable actors, on average. So, like, I think they're gonna be good, and either way, just a way to see just King Ghidorah, and Rodan, and Mothra, and Godzilla, and I don't know how there's, like, my one thing was like, how the hell is there gonna be, like, a existing world after this? Because it seems like everything's gonna be gone. Just recently, the trailer alone, it just looks so apocalyptic. Maybe that's how the movie ends. I don't know, but either way, it's gonna be crazy. Then I got Glass, which is the movie I'm really excited about, which is weird to say about a Shyamalan film, but I think Shyamalan kind of has his niche in superhero movies, oddly enough. Because they're definitely in the superhero genre, but he has his own style to him that actually works to his favor as a filmmaker. So, I'm actually looking forward to that. And then I got Shazam, which is not a super movie I'm actually looking forward to, because it just, every time I watch the trailer, it just feels like a breath of fresh air for the DC extended universe. And that's because I really want that one to be good, and I'm hoping that it will be, so we will see. And that was the last trailer I got. So, The Nun, honestly, skip it, unless you're, like, really desperate for some horror this month, but Hereditary just came out on Blu-ray. Go get that. That's a way better horror movie than this. Yeah, there's some cool visual styles and characters with it, but that's really it. That's all I can really recommend from it, so that's it for that one, guys. Later this week, I gotta go see Peppermint. I don't know who or when I'm gonna see that one. When I'm gonna see that one, and with whom, I should say. And next week, I'm just gonna guess The Predator, because again, I keep seeing reviews for that out, so I'm guessing that's coming out pretty soon. And what else is out? And again, there are not any trailer videos out right now because I'm working hard on a new project that I'm hoping to have out by the end of the week. That hopefully is going to be good. It's going to be edited by me, so it's not going to look as fancy as some of the other ones last couple have, but I'm hoping the writing will carry that through. So I think that's all I got, guys. Look out for that video later this week. If not this week, next week for sure. In the meantime, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all later. Take care.